All right, welcome everybody to an art business workshop on the Monday morning edition. My name is Patrick. I run the marketing department here, and I'm just making sure that my volume levels are okay here. Excited to have you guys. You know, on this call, you guys are a big group, but there's really only three buckets that all of you guys fall into. Okay, and bucket number one, you've never validated your art. You've never sold your art to people not named mom, dad, brother, sister, family, friends, people trying to date you, okay? That's a separate problem, right? Like if you've never sold your art to strangers before, there's a fix for that, there's a plan for that, and there's a way to approach that. And if I talk to, I don't know, let's say 100 artists a week, okay? 100 artists and photographers a week, I would say close to 20% are in that boat where they've never well and truly validated their art. So we can talk about that in a bit. The second bucket, okay, is folks that have validated their art, meaning you have sold art to strangers, to people that you don't know, okay? So you know that you have a product that the market wants, but you've gone about selling work up till now in different ways, right? You've done shows and fairs, or you sold through galleries, or you had some sort of retail component. You've done very little marketing online. You don't have a big email list. You have not keep records on who has been purchasing your work. You know, you've never done any social media marketing, and you've certainly never done any marketing consistently. That's the biggest group of you, okay? And I would say, let's call that, if the other one was 20%, that's 70%. The 10% that's left are, you have an email list, you have a collector list, you've done social media marketing regularly, and there's a little bit of a different scenario that you guys need the best help on. So oftentimes I find that artists or photographers often think they're further along in the process than they are. So I'd be curious to hear, once we get into the Q&A today, where you think you are, which one of those three buckets do you think you're in, that your business is in, because then we can talk about what's the most important plan for you, exactly where you are right now, which is a very good way to contemplate it and think about it. So, agenda for the session. Up front, I'm going to play a video, and it doesn't matter what bucket you're in. This video that I'm playing, this presentation, I call it the Art Business Pyramid. It is my, if you want to make it in this business, you do not have to do a whole lot right as long as you don't get these things wrong, okay? So how to think about the business model, how to approach it, the ways of selling art, some important stuff in there. During the course of the video, Zoom has like a little chat feature. So if you click the little chat bubble at the bottom of your Zoom window, that pops out a box. That allows us to throw some links in there to the various different things I'm going to be talking about in the video. So you can click on those things if you're so inclined, but you don't have to, because as soon as this thing ends today, okay, I am going to get that out of the way. I am going to send you a link that's going to be just like this, okay? And it's going to be a replay from today's session. So it'll be the video and then all the links of the various different things that we talk about. I throw links and books and reports and all kinds of stuff. So you guys will get that in your email box, which is all to say, don't feel like you need to, you know, write things down or click on things, because I'm going to send you a super updated list with everything on it. And so too, if you have to pop off early, totally understand that. And you'll have the replay video. So that will be easy enough. Also, myself, members of my team, some colleagues are in the chat. So as the video rolls along, if you want to throw your question in the chat, you can absolutely do that. And then the minute the video is done, we will meet on the other side for Q&A, and we can get into anything. So excited about it. April, start the video. See you guys on the other side for the Q&A in just a few. My name is Patrick. Run the marketing department here at Art Storefront's. Been doing that for about 6 years now. And that means I've been working on solving the problem that is, how do you sell art or photography by best leveraging marketing and digital marketing in particular. And it's an interesting problem to work on. There's not that many, art marketing agencies, for instance, right? Because it's a very, very hard problem to solve. Selling art and photography is not like selling every other item out there. A lot of tradecraft, a lot of nuance to it. In addition to that, I've been running 3 of these sessions since a little bit before the pandemic. So, year and a couple of months now. I don't believe that there's another human being on the planet that talks to more artists and photographers on a week in, week out basis. I have now at this point heard it all, seen it all, niche selection, pricing, sales, Facebook ads, branding, how to negotiate with the galleries, pricing, markup. I have heard and been through all of it over the last year. And in addition to that, we have like a little bit over 5,500 customers now. And one of the things that we do a great deal of is studying the ones that sell the best and studying quite in depth. For instance, who's capturing the most emails? How are they doing that? Excuse me. Who is the best on Facebook? Who is the best on Instagram? What are they posting? What kind of activity are they getting there? Who is selling the most art, period? Who is selling the most classes? Who is selling the most originals? Who's selling the most commissions? Metal prints, canvas prints. And you do all of that collectively. And why am I bringing all of this up? I think I can help you. I think today's Q&A after I'm done with the presentation can be insanely valuable. I think if you're struggling with something, I'd probably have a solution that can put you on the path. And I mean that in the biggest non-sales pitch way ever. I don't care if you ever do business with art storefronts, if you ever become a customer. I want the session to be valuable. I want to try to get you on a path to growing your art business to where you want it to be. I honestly believe that I can help you. So the Q&A will happen sort of after the presentation, and love for you to think about whatever questions you have, whether you've never sold your art before and you're just trying to get into it, whether you had robust sales pre-pandemic and the pandemic crushed you, whether you're struggling with a question of niche selection, what style should you be doing, or you're struggling with how to price your work, or you're struggling with how to get attention to your work, which, let's be honest, 100% of you guys are struggling with that. Every single solitary artist and photographer is struggling with that. But point being, have your questions ready, and we'll get into the Q&A after the fact. But I want to start with sort of this new concept that I've come up with, and I call it the art selling pyramid, okay? And I sort of stole it from Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. I don't know if you've seen this pyramid, right? But in Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs, you've got the physiological needs at the bottom, right? And the concept of the pyramid is you have to sort the blocks on the bottom before you can even contemplate sorting the blocks on the top. And the physiological needs are first, right? We have to eat, we have to sleep, we have to do that daily. That has to happen every single solitary day before we can even contemplate working on safety and shelter and money. And then you go up the thing, and it's love and belonging and esteem and self-actualization. You can become a great person and all of that jazz. So let me give you the art selling pyramid, okay? Borrowed from Maslow. Same thing, pyramid, got to sort the bottom blocks, up we move. And the bottom block, the first block, is attention. And I know, without equivocation, that every single solitary person on this Zoom call has an attention problem. What is attention? It is the eyeballs that you need to be able to sell your work. It is people knowing who you are, seeing your work, interacting with you. And we live in a, in a world right now where attention is the currency of the land. It's not dollars, it's attention. You have the attention, you can do anything. Without it, you're not in the game. Does the best art that's being created get sold? No. The best art that's being created that gets seen gets sold. And attention is every single solitary one of our problems. And just like in Maslow's pyramid, you have to sort it daily. You have to be working on getting more of it daily. It is no different than eating and sleeping. And I look at this little pyramid, and a perfect way for me to explain it. Do you know who some of the most powerful women, not just in the United States are, but in the entire world are? It's the Kardashians. You want to know why? They have attention, okay? Any one of those women, any of those surgically enhanced women, could decide to start painting stick figures tomorrow and sell $35 million worth of art in the first year. Why? Because they have attention, okay? They understood what the currency of the land is. When you have the attention, you can do anything. Attention comes in two forms, rented and owned. Rented are YouTube subscribers and Instagram fans and Facebook followers, any social media followers you have on any of those sites. Why is it rented? It's rented because you don't own it. They can change the rules at any time. Still very important, but it's rented. The other kind of attention, the owned attention, really email addresses, most importantly. Secondarily, snail mail. And for some people that do text message marketing, it's phone numbers. But you have to work on building your attention day in, day out. It is a quotidian job. And ultimately, it's the biggest problem that every single solitary one of you on here have. Some of you think you have a website problem. Some of you think you have a pricing problem. Some of you think you have a problem negotiating with galleries. You can't even have any of those problems until you solve the attention problem. The attention problem is the whole ball game. And when you understand it, you start getting intentional. You start working at it. It is no different than eating and sleeping. What did you do to acquire more attention for your work today? If you're not working on that, then you can't even have any of the other problems. Next block, okay, after we solve the attention situation, we're working on it. It's a constant battle. It never ends. The outside of this block is number 1 and 2 here, and then I'm going to get into the block. Number 1 is the business model, okay? I believe that an artist or a photographer, if they want to build a successful business, has to understand the business model. The business model is selling direct, by which I mean you, the artist, the photographer, selling directly to your end customer. You retain the data on your end customer such that you are able to market to that customer in perpetuity. Many people, the way that the industry worked traditionally forever was people that did not retain this information. They sold through galleries, or maybe they did the show and their circuit, but they weren't the best at keeping up with these people and marketing to them in perpetuity. I got this book that I cite all the time, and it's by Weiland. Weiland is the whale guy, okay? And don't worry, I'm going to send you links to this. But he wrote this book. He sells it directly on his website. He's depending on who you talk to, he's the #1 selling artist in the entire United States, probably even the world, to be honest with you, because of his business model and what he's done. And he talks in that book about this concept called a collector list, okay? And for Weiland, a collector list are buyers of his art that sell or that buy in upwards of 7+ pieces over the course of a lifetime. And he treats this collector list like VIP. They are, his collectors might as well be staying in the Four Seasons. He reaches out. He gives them special access to things. He likes their social media posts, and he continues to build that list, okay? And fundamentally, it is one of the single solitary most important things any art or photography business can have. Collectors surface, you market to them in perpetuity, your prices continue to go up, they go along for the ride. Some of these people will buy in upwards of 20 and 30 and 40 pieces throughout the course of your life. And if you are not building that list, it's sort of like you're working a job and you're not putting any money away in a retirement account. It's almost like a 401k that just pays every single solitary year. And I can go into some detailed examples, but the goal is you come out with a new series. You have a show, right? Whether it's a photographic series or it's the series that you painted. You'll start out, and your collector list will maybe buy 2% of the show or 5% of the show. And your goal is just to build that list such that the percentage of the work that they buy goes up and up and up. And I've seen customers that I've worked with recently where 40 to 50% of the show is bought before anyone even sees it by their collectors, just gone. So you created 20 pieces, 10 are gone instantaneously because you have been cultivating a collector list, because you understand the business model, okay? And it is, I mean, we're going to get into it, but it is so fundamental. And I've been doing this for a long time now, okay? I've talked to a lot of people, and it breaks my damn heart because on a regular basis, people are coming on these calls, okay? And they're in their late 40s, late 50s, late 60s, late 70s. They are at the top of their game. They have honed their craft to the greatest it's ever going to be. And guess what? They didn't understand the business model. And guess what? They didn't keep a collector list. And so guess what? The pandemic hit, and all their offline revenue sources, poof, are gone. And they're coming on this call, and they're going, Patrick, and this is how I envisioned it. They had the corner office, floor-to-ceiling windows, the giant executive desk, the big leather chair. And I'm telling them, I'm sorry, you're out of there, and you have to go back to the mailroom, and you're pushing the cart because you did not cultivate this list. Okay, you did not keep a collector list. You did not work on your marketing. You did not understand the business model. What do you have now? You have nothing. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Wait the pandemic out? Like half the galleries are closed. The ones that are still open are renegotiating the split from 50-50 to 60-40 because they have 100 different artists that they want to pick from. Go back on the show and their circuit. That's wonderful. That does not pay if it's not at 100% attendance. How long is it going to take for the show and their circuit to get back to 100% attendance? We don't know, but it's not going to be instantaneous, right? So really, really passionate about the business model, really, really passionate about the collector list. I think the minute you understand that, boy, are you in a great place. Boy, are you in a great place. You're building it. It takes time. Okay, that's the outer shell. The inside of the block, 3 ways to sell art. There are 3 ways to sell art, okay? Every single solitary artist, my argument, and photographer needs to understand the 3 ways to sell art and needs to be applying them in their business. Number 1, best way to sell art. Trick question of sorts. Everyone knows the best way to sell art. It's in person. face-to-face. It always has been. It always will be, okay? In person, face-to-face is the best way to sell art. Anytime you have the ability to sell art that way, you do that. Problem, we are all of us geographically fixed on this planet. We all have to sleep. We can't have 15 conversations at once. So the third way to sell art, and I say third because it's the least important, is via your website. You absolutely have to have a website. The website solves for these problems when you're asleep, 15 people at a time, and for many of the geographic problems. The second way to sell art, okay, the newest way to sell art, the one the entire art selling world is trying to figure out right now, the greatest advancement in selling art since forever is exactly what we're doing right now. It is selling art via live video in either a one-to-one fashion or a one-to-many fashion. A one-to-one fashion, I go to Antonio's website. Antonio, these pieces are very interesting. What is that one behind you? I would like to buy it. Can we talk about it? Antonio goes, Patrick, no problem. Let me set up a Zoom call with you. I'll show you a couple of pieces and we can talk about it. I can get to know you. That is the one-to-one fashion. The one-to-many fashion, okay, which is mega interesting as well, is this concept of a live art show, okay? And if my, what am I doing? There we go. So I have a couple examples of this I'm going to show. This is a painter in his garage studio. He has some works that he's trying to sell. He is streaming this to Instagram. He is streaming this to Facebook. He's streaming it to YouTube. He is holding the works up. He's talking about them. People can leave comments. They can purchase them. This is one particular type of these sales. This is a customer and a good friend of ours named Matthew Locke. We've run a number of these different initiatives with him. In addition, okay, to this concept of doing it in your studio, what happens if you have an actual show? He had an actual show in the middle of the pandemic. Now, attendance was limited. Now, a bunch of people couldn't travel, so the attendance of the show was light. He still sold a bunch of stuff. The day after the show, what do? We turn the cameras on. He grabs a glass of wine, wears this ridiculous sleeveless shirt. I always make fun of him for the sleeveless shirts. I can't help it. I think it's funny. And what is he doing? He's walking through the show, and you notice people are leaving comments. We're highlighting the comments. He's walking through the show. He's explaining each of the pieces, okay? So my point in showing this is the new, and I've got another one here too. I can rattle through so many examples. This is crazy, but this is absolutely the future of selling art. It is the next best way. And when we contemplate, let me mute this, but I'll just give you something to stare at while I rant here. You know, if selling art in person, face to face, is the best way to sell art, then okay, everything that we do digitally tries to get as close as possible to that, okay? And what would be the ideal way to sell art? Let's just say it's an art gallery that you have that you own in your hometown, okay? People can come in, they can get to know you, have a conversation, they can buy the art. For all the people that can't geographically do that, the next best way is this via live video. Again, one-to-one or one-to-many, a group show, right? And it's so close to the real thing, it's amazing. You don't have to leave your hometown. They get to know you. They get to interact with you. They feel like they have a bond with the artist. It is the future, full stop. And what's interesting is the entire world is trying to figure this out right now, okay? The entire art selling world is trying to figure it out. Your industry doesn't have a lot of reports. There's two big ones, okay? There is the Art Market 2021 report. They do one of these each year. It's from Art Basel and UBS. I'm going to send you links to the report. I want you to read it. It's amazing. It's incredible. The disclaimer on it is these guys report on the top 1% of the art selling market, right? Like the highest of the high end. The top auction houses in Christie's, the top auction houses and the top art selling dealers and the top galleries and stuff. But the report is still very, very relevant, okay? And the link we'll send you. You can download the entire report, which I recommend you do. I think you'll find it really insightful. But they have these key findings too, which is like this snazzy little web page they built to talk about it. And so I can go in here, I can explore this thing. They've got some lovely little graphs. But you read this report, and what they call it, and I'll quote, Chapter 5 looks at the online art market and the rapid evolution in sales in 2021. The chapter shows how the dealer sector shifted sales online in 2020 and the development of online viewing rooms, OVRs. You know what online viewing rooms are? A snooty way to talk about a Zoom call, okay? A snooty way to talk about exactly what we are doing right here, right now. So this is the future of how to sell art. in an incredible fashion. I always feel like a bit of a Yahoo to share numbers, but I'm going to share numbers because it's going to give this whole entire thing some teeth. Okay. So Matthew Laka, longtime customer, great friend, normally does the full dog and pony gallery shows in the middle. So this was on June 9th, 2020. He did 2 of these over a 15-day period. He sold 62 pieces for a little bit over $30,000 Canadian from his basement. No 50-50 split, direct, didn't have to leave. This is his garage studio. It's where he paints. Didn't even leave his living room. This gal, Meg, also a customer, she was moving studios, legitimately moving studios from one studio to another. This was about a month ago that we ran this. And, just to underscore my collector list, okay? This particular sale was teased on a Friday. On Monday, she emailed her collector list. Her collector list bought 46% of the show. She sold a little bit less than, I think, 76 different pieces for $15,000. Now, the pieces in this particular show were like the color studies, right? They weren't like the full buttoned up pieces. I'm trying to get to one where she's actually holding one. They were color studies, there were sketches, there were smaller works, right? Stuff that was just involved in it. But the point is, this is absolutely the future. It is such an incredible way to sell art and photography. The entire world is trying to figure it out. You get people using various different, at the snooty end, it's OVRs, online viewing rooms, or the art fairs and shows that are trying to keep the booth deposits. What's their line that they love? We're going to have a virtual art show, right? Everyone is trying to figure this out right now. I do not know what floor this particular elevator is going to go to. My guess is it's going to go very high. What I'm saying is right now, this elevator is on the ground floor and the doors haven't even closed yet. The whole world's trying to figure this out. And there is so much tradecraft to it, I can't even begin to tell you. This particular Zoom call, I have all you guys in a Zoom call right now, right? This is also being streamed to 2 YouTube channels, to a Facebook channel, to Twitter, all at once, all simultaneously. Everyone is trying to figure this out, and it is the most effective way to sell art, period. And so step 1 is becoming aware of it. Step 2 is starting to practice it and put it into practice. And I guarantee there's probably not a single solitary person on this call that is doing it. And people ask, what is it that you do at Art Storefronts? We teach our customers how to sell art and photography in the most advanced ways possible. And because I don't care, 90%, I tell people these things, 90% of the people will never, ever even do it. So I don't even care to give away the tradecraft. I'll give away the tradecraft right now. So my sleeveless associate here, Matthew, is using wireless Apple AirPods connected to his iPhone, which has this stream going out live on Instagram. We are leveraging software that is streaming it, that's putting in this little title here, right? And his logo, and the banner at the bottom to inquire, and it's pulling the comments in. So cell phone, earpods connected to Instagram on the phone, laptop, computer, Facebook, personal Facebook, YouTube account, all of that goes down all at once simultaneously. And you can see there's numbers here if the number 2 thing goes away. He's even got little numbers here. Why? Because the people on Instagram can't see the graphics that we have on the screen. And so they need to know, okay, was that number 2 or number 3? You can't really see it, but it's like right behind here. There's like a little thing. Yeah, there it is. See, number 5. And we're on number 5. So everyone knows. There's a million little things like that. What is the best combination of the technology? How do you announce it? What do you do during the course? And don't worry, I'm going to send you guys, I'm going to send you these shows after the fact so you can watch them and pick up what you like. But this is absolutely the future, you guys, and it is completely changing the game, and you don't need to leave your house, and there are no booth fees, and there's no loading up the car and driving somewhere and staying in some crappy hotel and eating crappy food and then hoping you're going to see an ROI. There is no limit to the amount that you can run. It is the most beneficial use, highest ROI use of an artist or photographer's time I could even imagine right now. It's not even close. And again, whole world's trying to figure it out. So those are the 3 ways to sell art. I got to get back to my pyramid. You have to be running all 3, and you have to be doing all 3 consistently all year long. So we start by constantly gathering attention. We start by recognizing the business model, collector list, as well as the 3 ways to sell art. Then we get to the top of the pyramid, which is everything else. What do I mean everything else? You have a brick and mortar gallery that's working out for you, that's bringing in revenue to your business. Fantastic. We love revenue. I have never met a revenue source I don't like. Keep it going. But it's in addition, okay, not in lieu of working on attention, not in lieu of working on the 3 ways to sell art and building your own collector list. What if it's an online gallery? Maybe it's Saatchi or Fine Art America or Redbubble or Etsy or any of the others. Is it bringing in revenue? Fantastic. I've never met a revenue source I don't like, but it's in addition to everything else, okay? It's in addition to getting your own